And today, at the request of somebody from the Corona Labs forum, I'm going to show you how to do leaderboards on Gamesparks. Before I start, I want to mention that I am not associated in any way with Corona, other than I use their products, and I'm not associated in any way with Gamesparks, other than they have offered to provide me non-material support. Okay, so let's start. Um, First, you create a game in Gamespark. It's pretty easy. I think when you start, there's a button, and you say add a new game, and you type your name in. And in this case, is Leaderboard Demo. And you end up in this screen here once you finish with the wizard. I would copy the API key and the API secret because we'll need it on the Lua side. So this is all about leaderboards. So all you have to do first is go into events, and you'll see the event come up, and you click on add event. And I already have one. It's a score event, so I'm going to name this one score event 2. And this is the event that you're going to fire to store the and then you're going to have an attribute, and this is the value that you're going to send the score, and it's going to be a number, and the default value should be 0. And since this is a leaderboard where the highest number is at the top, you just wanted to pick the highest number, and I'm just going to save that. Close it. I already did that, so we're just going to use this one for the score event, end of game score. Then you're going to go into configuration leaderboards. And I already have a leaderboard top score, but I'm going to go through it again, and I'm just going to name it again top score 2. And top score. And the update frequency is real time. You could do it daily, weekly, monthly, and you could also specify when it resets. I'm not doing any of that. And this is the important part. You're gonna have to tie the event and the collector, which is the values that get pushed into this event. And then I'm going to make it descending, which is the default. Again, because we want the highest scores on the top. And I just save and close. So that's basically it from the Gamesparks side. You have a leaderboard, and you have a way to send the values of the scores to the leaderboard. Now I'm going to show you on the Lua side. If you go into build settings, I added what is required by Gamespark, basically Gamespark, OpenSSL, and bit. And then on the main menu, I say require plugin Gamesparks, and then I say GS create GS. Here is the key and the API secret key that I showed you from the game screen, right here and right here. And then I said GS set availability callback. This is where once it connects to the Gamespark servers, it will let me know, and then I tell it to connect. And this is the event here. Let's see if I can find the event. The availability callback, it returns here, and if this is true, it means that it's connected to the Gamespark servers. And then I created a method called device authentication, And in the device authentication, almost all requests start like this. You see, you do a request builder, get request builder. This is going to be a device authentication request, create authentication request. And I send it system get info device ID and the platform. And I would recommend that you set up the display name ahead of time, because otherwise you end up with what happened with me in Quadros is you end up with leaderboards that don't have display name, which is pretty sad. And then you just send the request, and as soon as it fires you get a response. And I have this so you could see what the response look like. And as soon as the response come back, I'm sending a high score to this event called log event. And if you see this event, log event has the score, the name of the event, and the high score, which at this point I'm generating from a random number. So we're going to go to the method or function log event. And again, like everything in Gamespark, I start with a request builder. You see request builder. We're going to use the log event request. And then we set the key, the log event request set event key, the event key. And this is a generic method I use to log any event from Gamespark. So I have this attribute table. I go through the attribute table, and I set the attribute, log event request set event attribute, and then the key and the value. And then like the other one, I send it and I get a response. If you were doing this for your game, you know, this is just a test app, you would check to make sure it has it doesn't have an error. And then since I sent the score, I say retrieve leaderboard. This is another function I created, and the name of the leaderboard, which is top score. And retrieve leaderboard. The same thing with Gamespark, the same pattern. Request builder. In this type, we're going to get entry requests, and it's a request builder, create leaderboard data request. And we set the leaderboard shortcode, which I passed it in, but we created it at the beginning of this video. And the set entry count to 10. You can make it 20, whatever you want, really, how many you want to show. And then you send the request. And I send the request and I wait for the response. And that is basically it. Now, for most of my games, I've had this grid utility, or whatever you want to call it. It's a grid Lua. And I included part of this project. I use it for most of my apps, so if you see any grids and have played around with any of my apps, this is what I use. That being said, I think there are better ones at the marketplace. I mean, you could use this one. I was planning on releasing it anyhow, and maybe I'll do it in a few months or whatever it is, but I've been using this one for a few years. No support, but it's up there if you want to use it, and if not, use one of the ones that are in the marketplace. And all I have to do is specify the grid, 80, 70, true, top score. This is the grid width. Show the title, what you want from the title. The column display name, I have blank space for rank, and then name, score. Show column header equals true. And then the column row, the width, these are the percentages. And if I save this, and hopefully I have the emulator running. And as you see, it returned the two scores that I have up there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you Adrian, Fred Tester is 35. How to add more score, at least for the testing. And I'm going to go into test harness here. And I'm going to connect. And it's connected. And I'm going to pretend I'm a new device, just to have a third entry up there. So this is the same thing I did in the Lua code, except that now it's from their website. So device authentication request. I have removed most of the fields for this, and I have it saved, so I don't have to remember what which fields are which. But device authentication request, I'm going to create a new device ID here since I don't have one. It's OS X for the device OS, and I'm going to call it Adrian 2. I send request, and you can see the response right here. It says new player equals true, and it created in and created a user ID. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did in the newer code, and I am going to send an event, and I'm going to click on log event and score event, and it populates all this for me, and I'm going to give this particular player, which is already authenticated, a score of 2001, so this person will be at the top of the leaderboard. And I send request, and you get the response here, log event response. And now if I go back to my game, where's Corona? And I just do a refresh on Corona. It's connecting, and there you see on the top of the grid is Adrian 2. And that's basically it. This is on the gig on the. I'm gonna put it on GitHub. This is my email, one of my emails that you can send me emails to. And if you have any questions, and I'll put this on the bottom of the YouTube video. If you have any questions, just post them there or post them on the Corona forums. And have a great evening or day, whatever may be.